Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Alan, otherwise known as Dimebag or Sean Cabrera, how Mike used to know me. But this video is in remembrance of Michael Scherr, aka Flashdance. Let's see. This video is kind of hard for me to do right now, but I'm gonna try my best. Driving home right now, and I think a lot about Mike all the time when I'm driving to and from work. I first met Mike in October 2004. Believe it or not, and I got stationed at Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma, on October 24, 2004, and I want to say he was there maybe 1 or 2 days afterwards, and that's really when I first met him. I remember I was sitting in the office one day, and then he walked in. He was still in civilian clothes. He was just in processing, and the first time I met him, that old tall, lanky guy, man, looked so goofy. He came in with his big old jacket on because it was kind of chilly, and his old tight, I used to call them like no hugger pants or whatever, but these tight pants and these cowboy boot type of deals. I used to call them cowboy boots. I don't know what they were. And he shakes my hand, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" Or Sean Cabrera, Alan. He's like, "Hey, Mike Scherr, nice to meet you." And that's how it was, and that's always how it's ever been. And I laughed because I was like, "Oh man, this old corn-fed, corn-boy country guy. I don't know if we're going to get along," because I grew up in the city, so it was way different. But you know. From that point on, we had this connection, I guess, where we just became really good buds, and first and foremost, before I say anything else, Mike Scherr to me was not only a friend, he was my mentor, and he taught me everything I knew about the military and how to be a better person today. But and I remember when Mike and we first started working together, we would just sit there and laugh all the time because he was brand new to our career field as a vehicle operator because he was a nuclear troop out there in Minot, and when he came to us, he had no idea anything about vehicle operations and nothing like that. So I used to make fun of him and tell him, "You know what, Mike, you're the best 3-level I've ever seen." Staff sergeant 3 levels, so it was kind of crazy. He never really did CDCs, none of that stuff. He never went to the schoolhouse for it. So everything he learned pretty much was from myself, Sergeant Cootie, Corey, Pino, and that's pretty much how we taught him. And then we didn't really have a hardcore mission at that time. For what we did, we were just vehicle control officers for the 3rd Combat Comm Unit out there in Tinker. And so we would sit there and laugh because all we did was just wash vehicles for like the first few months. We would just sit there and like, I can't believe that. He said one day, I was sitting there at the wash rack one day, and I got done washing the vehicle. Him and I were just out there washing the vehicle. It was a deuce and a half, and I stopped and I started laughing. And he's like, "Alan, what's so funny? What's going on?" And I laughed. I was like, "This is all we gotta do. This is crazy." I couldn't believe it. And he turned to me and started just chuckling up, laughing. He's like, "I can't believe we get paid to do this." And from there on out, it was just we made like the worst jobs, like the funnest jobs. A lot of people don't like driving the deuce and halves, and him and he loved off-roading. Everybody knows that. So we would just go take the deuce and halves to the Humvees, and he's like, "Hey, go grab this wrecker real quick. Let's go to Glenwood or Douglas, and let's go get stuck in the mud." And I'm like, "Man, we can't go do that." He's like, "No, we're going to call it training." So we would go training, me, him, and Pino, and we just take like some deuce and halves, and it's kind of like here, something crazy is going to happen here. Hold my beer real quick. Well, that was Mike, and he was sitting there one day, and I was in the truck with him, and he looked at me. He's like, "Alan," he's like, "You want to get out of the truck for this one?" And so I said, "I don't know about that. What are we doing here?" And he's like, "Hold on, jump out real quick." So I jumped out. There's this big old slanted hill out there at Douglas, and he's like, "I'm gonna go up that thing." I was like, "Are you crazy?" So he did it, and I thought he was gonna flip over, but it was Mike, and he's like, "Oh, I've done this 1,000 times in a Scout," and that's when I first time I actually going off road with him, and man, it was a field day. And I remember one of those pictures that Katie has, when he's like waving and stuff, and his coveralls. It was from that day where we got some vehicles stuck in the mud. So it's kind of crazy. I remember that day, Pino, if you ever saw the other pictures from those days, Pino sitting there hanging from the wrecker, upside down, and we just had a good time, and we loved it, and that's what we did, and that's what Mike was all about. I not only knew him on that level as working at vehicle ops, but I knew him at the combat readiness school as well. But another time when for vehicle operations when we worked at, and we had these 13-speed tractors, like diesel trucks. And I remember one day he had to get certified and all that stuff, so he drove the automatics, and he's like, man, I really want to try that 13-speed. We're out there working, and Mike comes up, he's like, hey, where's the keys for 13-speed? I was like, it's in somewhere hanging in one of the folders, whatever. So he grabs it and takes off. So I go outside and smoke a cigarette or something, and I come back, and I was like, hey, where'd Mike go? And Pino was like, he's not outside. I was like, no, he just left. So anyway, Mike takes the keys to a 13-speed, the tractor, and just takes off out of the compound and like a bat out of hell, and just leaves. Didn't tell anybody anything. Comes back like 2 hours later. It's like, oh, I know how to drive 13-speed now. This guy single-handedly trained himself how to drive a tractor. Never in my entire career have I ever met anybody that just takes the keys, drives that, and comes back. It's like, yep, I'm trained. And I asked him, I was like, how did you get trained on how to drive that? He's like, so he goes and flips down the visor, and you guys, if you like on this thing, and if you guys ever see like military vehicles, it has like instructions sometimes on how to drive it, and that's the way he did. And that's Mike. That dude loved to drive. We would go convoys, and he would just drive for days and days and days, and I'd sit there ride shotgun. We passed out with earplugs in, and I'd wake up, hey Mike, you good? He's like, yep, I'm good, So, man, I love that guy. Some combat readiness school stories. He was Flashdance, and a lot of people don't know the reason why they call him Flashdance. And the reason why they call him that is because when he went through the combat readiness school as a student, he had these huge boots on, like these I guess he got them when he was at Minot or something, like these snow boots, whatever, and it was raining like crazy, like cats and dogs outside. So Mike, he had all this crazy rain gear, so he goes and puts these, I guess, mucklucks or something he calls them, and puts them on. And I remember a polecat who was a sergeant pastor, he was a combat at the schoolhouse one time, and was sitting there, and he's like, Sergeant Scherr, what the hell are those things? And he's like, oh man, these are these rain gear, blah blah. And if everyone knew Mike, you know how that old big old deep voice, right? So he puts these things on, and he started calling them Flashdance because when he was running through the rain, I guess someone had this crazy idea. It looked like that from the movie Flashdance when he's like the I'm a Maniac song or whatever, and that was Mike running through the rain with these big old boots hiked up over his calves and stuff. So that's how he got the call sign Flashdance, for anyone ever want to know why. So I'm dime bag for another reason, nothing bad or whatever, but it just, if you're at the combat, at the readiness school, everyone had a crazy call sign. Then that guy could yell like no tomorrow. This dude, if he was pissed at you, you would know it, and everyone within a mile would know it because his voice carried. Everyone was so scared of Mike. It was crazy. He was like a big teddy bear. But anyway, so he was doing some PCIs one morning, pre-combat inspections, pre-combat checks, PCIs, PCCs. And I remember he was just yelling because they didn't have all their stuff. The students or the class, we call them Studi, they didn't have all their proper gear. And so he tried to grab this canteen, and it wasn't full of water, and we had to have him lanyard to the body so they don't lose their water when they're out there training. He grabs it, and he's trying to pull it out of his damn the ammo pouch, and it wouldn't come out. And she got so pissed, and then and so he couldn't get it. So he grabs another student, but it wasn't tied on. So when he grabs the canteen, he flips it out, and he tosses it, but he thought it was tied on. So he tosses it, and this thing went like 50 yards. This guy, he just boom, gone. And I look, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And next thing you know, I hear, oh no, and he hit a car. He hit one of the students' cars that was parked over there, and everyone just kind of gave him crap for it. It was funny. He felt real bad, but he still played it off like calm, cool, and collected, like nothing happened. He's like, I meant to do that, And he comes back later on. He's like, oh hell. He's like, I'm sure as heck didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to keep it PG here, guys. We a bunch of guys working in the environment. It was sometimes a lot of cuss words, but so was that. Flashdance used to have his own tree when we were aggressing the students as Op 4 for opposing forces and stuff, and he would sit there in this little place we had. It's called Vietnam, and he would sit over there, this dang tree, every time, and just destroy these students and shoot the living crap out of them, and just by himself he could single-handedly take on a side if he wanted to. And so he'd sit at this tree, and we would get on the radio, "Hey, Flashdance, where you at?" He's like, "Well, God, I'm in my spot." You know, if you knew Mike, you knew how he was like kind of a wise guy sometimes. And so he'd always be at that dang tree, you know. And even to this day, even after he left Tinker and went over to, you know, became the functional manager at Space Command, even time we're still aggressing the site and still working with the students. We're like, "Hey, you know, where you guys at in location to where we were?" "Well, I'm over there in Flashdance's tree." So it'll forever be known in Glenwood as Flashdance's tree. And for guys like us that know Mike, knows that means a lot, you know what I mean? So all kinds of crazy things out there. The only guy I ever met that ate lunch out of a damn mason jar. So oh man, so there were times we're sitting there eating lunch, and I'd heat some up in the microwave or whatever, but Mike did not. He refused to eat out of like Tupperware style stuff. And so one day I'm sitting there, and he pulls out this spoon from his desk in a mason jar. And the first time I seen it, I was like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "I'm eating lunch." What are you talking about?" So he pulls out the mason jar full of like spaghetti or something, and we made so much fun of him because the first day it was like, number one is, where the hell did you get a mason jar from? And number two is, why are you eating out of a mason jar? And that's all he did. And he was like, "I'm trying to be a conservative, blah blah blah. I don't like to eat out of Tupperware because it's bad for your body." And that, it's crazy, you know, just the little things that he did, you know. And I remember one time when we used to wear BDUs so I put on I was going to lunch one day at the chow hall, so I put our shirts used to hang up on this little coat rack. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Hey Mike, I'm gonna meet you at the chow hall." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool, we'll be there in a few minutes." So I put on my shirt, headed to chow hall. When I put it on, it felt kind of big. I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe I just grabbed one of my wrong shirts I had or something. I get to chow hall, and I'm going through the line, and blah, 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 and I get my food. And so Mike comes up. He's like, "Hey, Alan, oh, actually, I'm sorry. No, he didn't he didn't even say that. He's like, "Hey, Sergeant Scherr, what's going on?" I was like, "What? What are you talking about, man?" He's like, "Yeah, hey, Sergeant Scherr, how's it going?" And I was like, "What are you talking about, dude?" And he looks, and he keeps looking down at the name tapes, and I look down, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me. I'm wearing his damn shirt." And I was wondering why everyone kept looking at me crazy. Well, he has a nuclear patch that he used to sit right here, like, because he was a nuke troop, and over there at Tinker we don't have any nuke troops. And I got a big laugh about that. So I went in the bathroom, you know, changed out, and like which was even funnier is this guy, he was like 6'3", I'm like 5'11", and it's like super. My BDU top was super tight on him and stuff. So we'd laugh about that for a while. PT, oh my God, this guy, as tall and as big as that dude was, you wouldn't think he can run that fast. This guy, I swear he cranked out 1.5 miles in 9.5 minutes. It was like his one step was like my 3 steps. So I remember we used to sit there and run, and he would just destroy. He'd beat everybody down. But the cool thing about Mike is he never left anyone behind. So I remember me, Pino, and Mike, we'd always take off running. Mike was always the first to go. Me and Pino would like to sit back and pass everyone in the squadron and see how many people we can pass. I don't know why. It was like a little alpha male thing or something. We just love to do it, though. We just love to see how fast we can get past. We used to call them the fat guys or whatever. So just get past the fatties. And so when I would get done, Mike would always finish first, and then Pino was there, and I would be right behind Pino a little bit. But Mike never left for the day. He would always go back, hit a U-turn after we just got done running 3 miles, hit a U-turn, and come back and pick Brian up and pick me up, and then run back with me all the way back to the 3 mile mark. So he always ran farther than 3 miles, and that's just how he was, you know. He instilled that in a lot of people, you know, and he was always a leader. Definitely never was a follower from day one, you know. When he put on Tech Sergeant, I remember he would say, Alan, he's like, I'm never going to make you do anything I'm not willing to do myself. And a lot of people say that and preach that, but Mike was that guy. I remember we'd be outside working and stuff, and cleaning vehicles or whatever, and he would sit at his computer, and he'd be so busy, but he would take the time. He'd come outside and work with us, you know, and that right there, that meant a lot, you know, because when you make, you know, sometimes when you make rank, whatever, you're like, oh, well, I feel like I don't have to do this, you know, rank has its privileges. But that wasn't Mike though. He wasn't afraid to get dirty, and he loved his job, and he loved taking care of his people, and that's what he did from day one. So I remember I would sit outside, and he'll be out there, and I was like, hey man, you don't have to be out here. We can handle this stuff. We can laser line these vehicles or gas up these trucks, or I can train these guys on how to drive a Humvee or whatever. But he was like, and he always wanted to be out there in the front with everybody. And he didn't like to have the limelight on him. He'd always, hey man, put these guys in for awards. And he was that guy like, hey, I want this, I want that. He was the one to hook everybody else up. And that was meant a lot for me, you know. And going up through the ranks, and I had like different programs and stuff, and I would ask for help, and he had no problem helping me, but he'd say, Alan, you can do it yourself. He's like, and I was like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, no, he's like, figure it out, but when you figure it out, you're gonna appreciate it more because it's your program, you did it all on your own, and then not only you can do that, you can teach other people how to do it. And man, I hated doing that, but it taught me a lot of lessons and taught me how to do everything, and I really own the programs, and which was crazy is because I've done the same thing for some of my troops I've had, either being deployed or somewhere else or different bases or whatever, and that's what I love about doing, you know, about him, is not only the stuff he instilled on me, I was able to help push that towards other troops and stuff. So I mean, that dude was my mentor and like no other. So I know this video is like 60 minutes long. I know it's really kind of long, but there's a lot on my mind, and there's on the Facebook page that I think Colleen made. I didn't want to write anything. It took me a long time to even talk about it. I was really, really, really heartbroken. I called Mike. I tried to call him a few days before he'd passed, and I remember I talked to Katie, and she's like, "Oh, he's in the restroom." I was like, and I started laughing because I was like, "Oh, that guy can be in there for a while." So, and I said, and it kills me inside because I said I was going to call back the next day, and I didn't, and eats me inside, and it really hurts because I really, it's all, I mean, I've said everything I had to say to Mike beforehand, and you know how much he meant to me, and he knew that, you know, but I just wish I could have one more chance to talk to the big guy. When we do PT and stuff, I know I'm all over the place, but another story is he's the only guy in the entire military I ever met who carried a blue bandana as a snot rag. Whenever he was running, he would tuck it in his shorts, and anytime he'd get ready for a run, we'd sit there and he'd sit there and blow his nose and fold it back up in a 4-inch fold, like he's folding a damn, like his shirts, whatever, like hospital, you know, 4-inch corners and all that stuff and everything, whatever. And he fold it right back over there at his uniform and just hanging out all the time. So we were like, "What's up, Crib?" Just kind of just messing with him and stuff. But oh man, so much crazy times. Let's see what else. The good times we had at Disney. I never really went off-roading before. I went with him once, him and Steven, when he was real little. So we went out there. We went with first time I met Brian Branch, awesome guy, and so we go out there into Disney. We're out there 4-wheeling, and I never experienced some country stuff until that, and we love to drink beer, so we're out there drinking beer, and one of the other guys out there, Brian's like, "Oh, knock her down," and I tell you what, and that blew my mind because I'm a city boy from California, and I had no idea what they were talking about. I was like, as I told Mike, and Mike just started laughing. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "Gone country," you know. So, but one thing about Mike is he's always been there for me from day one. When I got to Tinker, I went through a big bad divorce, and I was really down, drinking all the time, partying all the time. I was like a loose cannon. I was a reckless young NCO, and with the help of him and Corey, they really brought me back, you know, to be professional again and be NCO again, all that stuff. But not just that, but like on a personal level, to be able to walk and maintain again. There was times I I'd come to work hammered drunk and stuff or whatever. Not because I was just drinking all day long, but I go out and party every night and then come back and, you know, running PT and smelling like booze, whatever. And they really sat me down, but not like, hey, blah, blah, like, you know, hey, you know, what do you need help with? You know, now it'd be called the ACE, Ask Care Escort thing, but they actually cared about people, you know, back in them days, not like I see now in the military where now they're quick to burn bridges or whatever, but that's a whole nother subject. So he actually cared, you know, and just like, and actually wanted to help people. And that's another cool thing about Mike, you know. And for Katie and the kids, man, if I can just be half as good as Mike ever was, you know, that's just, I tried to be that guy, you know. And I even to this day, you know, I think a lot of times, what would Mike do in this situation? What would Mike do here? And even up until the time where, you know, kind of before he passed, I would always call him and tell him, hey man, I got this going on at work. What do you think about this? I got this going on in life. You know, what would I do? Or, you know, what should I do? And he would always tell me, he's like, you know what to do. He's like, just, you know, and I told him, I was like, I know what to do, you know, but what do you think about this? And I would always kind of rub it up by him, not because, you know, he had every answer, but he kind of knew where I was coming from, and he knew which way I wanted to go in my career and stuff, you know. And I remember when I was still a tinker and he was over at Space Command, I would come up all the time. Hey man, I got this issue. What do you think about this? I got that issue. Even when I got to Herbert Field, man, you wouldn't believe what I see over here. You know, and it's crazy how some of the people were over here were, man, we had it so good over there at Tinker, and you know, and needless to say, you know, just run with the punches. It gets better. When I was deployed over there in 2014, I thought about Mike all the time. One thing I know that Mike really, really, really wanted to do in his military career, never had a chance to because of his medical issues from before, was to deploy. And man, like when I was down there, I felt like I wasn't down there just for me, whatever. It was for him as well, because he never got to experience the opportunity. And I remember when I came back, I called him. He was one of the first people I talked to when I came back, and I told him, hey man, you know, as you know, I wish you were there with me. I'd go to war with Mike any day of the week. I don't know what else to really say. Just, I'm so glad I got to go to your retirement ceremony. I won't be able to make the funeral, unfortunately. I just started this civil service job, and it's kind of killing me inside, but I just started like a week and a half ago, and I hate to be I need to take leave, whatever. But I know Mike that he'd be okay with that, you know. And it's kind of crazy, but he knows, you know, how it goes. And Mike was all about the military, and that's one awesome thing I loved about him too. Is if you ever watched that video that Fox News did on combat readiness school, and I think some of the people have posted up there, I found it a while ago, and I sent it out to a mass text, and hopefully some of you guys have seen it, where he says at the end, it's a great day to be a GI. Is he stood by that. He stood by the core values: integrity, service for self, and excellence. All we do. That was Mike. And I used to make fun of him all the time too, just kind of pick at him a little bit, and I'd say, man, you're like the poster child for the Air Force. You know, you got, at a time he had 2 kids, you know, the wife, 2 kids, and I think he had 2 minivans, you know, and just a good career and stuff. And he's like, oh man, get out of here with that nonsense. And you know, it's kind of funny. We'd pick at each other all the time and stuff, and it's crazy. He had this little Ford Ranger, and even to this day, if I see like a little Ford Ranger with something in the back, I always think of Mike. And I'm not sure if anyone else ever does that, but whenever I see one, I get a chuckle, because the entire time he had it, he had this horrible tent job on it, which wasn't even tent. It was just stuff on the windows, and he would just peel it off here and there and stuff and everything. But so yeah, we went to New Orleans together, or I should say, we attempted to after Katrina, and that was a crazy experience. One that I'll definitely never forget. Let's see, just so many crazy times together. I mean, man, from 2004 till this day, you know, and so many stories. I'd love to post it all. Let's see if I can think of anything else. My mind's kind of just boggled right now with just so many emotions, you know. after I talked to like Monhay and Joe and Cal and Cootie and Virgil and everybody, I talked to them and trying to check up on them, see how they're doing. They check up on me because they knew Mike was like he really meant a lot to me. And then not a few people. There's only a few people out in the world as my friends are like I really looked up to. I have a lot of good friends and stuff around for the military, but I really looked up to Mike a lot. And what's funny is I never knew that until I went to the NCO, the Non-Commissioned Officer Academy, in 2012. And when I went there, they had a lot of stuff about mentors and mentorship and all that stuff. And they said, "Who's your mentor?" And I never had one, And after thinking about it, I was like, man, I guess it'd be Mike. And I kept thinking and thinking. I was like, wow, he really was my mentor, but I never knew it. And he never tried to mentor me. He just did. And that's what's awesome about that. He would be the transformational leader, and he wouldn't try to mentor you. He would just do it, and you would just want to be like him because everything he did was great. We've been through thick and thin, man. Blood, sweat, and tears together. I mean, I worked with that guy 5 days, 6 days, 7 days out of the week, depending on what job we were doing. Let's see, what else we got? Oh, another time we were doing combat readiness school in old Flashdance. He was sitting there. We had to do a scenario, and so we were walking on these railroad tracks. He's probably 50 meters ahead of me. We're doing like this little LPOP hunting, listening post, observation post. We're kind of looking for some students in the woods. So I'm sitting there, and I hear Mike just like start screaming, and I look and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I look and there's and then 4 flying in the air one way, and his booty hat flying this way, and he's just taking off running. This big old tall this dude takes off running down the woods, and I was like, what is going on? And he stepped on a dang hornet's nest on the railroad tracks and got bit all over or stung all over, and he was like so pissed, and he just left the weapon there, and I'm sitting there like, what are you doing, man? You can't just leave it there. So he's like, well, you go get it. So I remember I walk over there, and I was like, I picked it up, and I just took off running real quick, ran and grabbed the weapon, gave it back to him and stuff. And it was a big laugh, big riot. We did combatives together, and only time I ever seen him struggle was with Pete Stewart. And I thought I was gonna get real one day when him and Pete were messing around, and I remember Mike turned around and elbowed him in the head real quick, and I was like, oh my God, it's about to be World War III between Flashdance and Meat. And if anybody knows Pete Stewart, aka Meat, it's one of the biggest, brawliest dudes I ever met in my life. So, they squashed it real quick and everything. They just know his accent, but man, the tensions were flaring that day, and so it was all good times. Mike loved his scouts. That dude, he was all about his scouts, and what do he have, like 4 or 5 now, something like that? But I remember his red one, he was always chopping up that dang thing, and it'd be 20 degrees outside, and he had this big old parka on and stuff, But yeah, so that's Mike, and that's who I remember. And I got so many more stories. And Katie, if you ever want to hear some more, you want to make another video, I definitely have no problems doing that. And to the kids, your dad was a great man, and I just wanted you guys to know that. I know I probably wasn't around you guys as much, but he always talked about you guys all the time. Oh, and then one more thing, Katie, I just want to say much love to you. I don't know if you ever know or not, but ever since I lived on my own, I left my house at 18 and joined the military. I think I was 27 or 28 when I was working the class, and I remember Mike comes up, and I think you were there. Yes, I think you did come. And you guys brought me a birthday cake for my birthday, which is April 17th. And I almost got down like in tears, man, because it really meant a lot, because I'd never had a birthday cake since I was 18. So no one's ever actually done that before. But I held it in, can't put my man card, but I held it in. I told him, I said, man, no one's ever made me a birthday cake before. And something so small like that really went a long way, and just for me to even remember my birthday, because it's not like we had Facebook back then, and if they did, we sure as hell weren't on there. You know, I didn't have time for that stuff. But it's crazy, you know, it's kind of how life goes. And yeah. But and to his parents, you know, he always talked highly of you guys and his brothers and everybody and stuff. And I just want to say, Mike was a good guy. And I'm sorry I won't be able to make it, you know, to the vigil and to the funeral. But I wish everyone the best. And if you guys ever want to talk, I'm always here to listen to and stuff. And I miss everybody. We always talk about a brotherhood at the Third Common Communications Group. We truly were a brotherhood. And for anyone that was ever stationed there with us, they know how it is. And they used to have a saying, it's of us and those like us, damn few left. And that holds truth, you know. And it's crazy, is anywhere you go, like when you PCS and stuff like that, and you meet people from the herd, you always reminisce about the good old days and stuff like that. You know, when you're there, it's funny, I had to talk with this guy I work with now, Sergeant Pelkey, and he was like, you know, we'd say to talk to it today, and when you're in the herd, sometimes it sucks, and you know, you work hard and play hard, but when you leave, you realize, man, what the great unit was, you know, the awesome camaraderie, the awesome family that we had, and that's what I loved about the herd. I mean, you can count on anyone and everyone, and they'd be there for you, you know. And Mike was just the same way. Even when he left, you know, he was still a part of Space Command. And so, little tidbit about the herd and everything. But I just want to say thanks again for you guys, and love and miss you, Mike. Every day I drive this like 40-minute drive, and I think about you, man. Hurting inside, but we'll get over it, you know. I'm not over that, but you know what I mean. So, all right, Dimebag out.